Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game off the back of a nice victory to some extent. It's a match preview of Nottingham Forest against West Ham United. Gonzo, would you like to kick us off with your thoughts on Forest, please?
Yeah, quite remarkable, really. They seem to be doing better now. They've not got as much money as they did have, or not, let's say, not allowed to spend as much as they were, with a very, very ambitious owner, it has to be said. And they said they've got the right manager in. They really have. I did not expect them to be up where they are this season. I have to say, and they possibly won't. They won't stay there. But I think what he's done, and just the foresight to bring in that manager. Just some managers just fit clubs, don't they? And maybe they don't necessarily work out at other clubs, as probably has been the case with particularly Tottenham. But you get the right mix, you get the right match at the right club, and they're a good club. They're a solid club, good historical solid club, Nottingham Forest. And when Nottingham Forest manage themselves right off the pitch, they have every reason to be, in the top division, basically. And I don't just mean going back to Brian Clough and, winning 2 European Cups, but, they are, people say, oh, Nottingham Forest are a massive. They're not a massive club. They've got a massive history. But they are a decent sized club. And they probably should be in and around the Premier League. So, there's a bit of jealousy to see them up there, but I'm quite pleased to see clubs like that doing well, because again, as a West Ham fan, it sort of gives you hope that if you get your own your own house in order, that maybe you can sort of mix it around the top part of the Premier League. I watched their game against Leicester as well, and I think they're mightily impressive, actually, and I think certainly I'm looking at the game next, on at the weekend. I think they're gonna pose us some problems, and we're gonna might struggle to break them down, actually.
Has it changed? Like obviously pre-season when you sort of have a little bit of fun and predict your Premier League, how it's going to look at the end of the season, but you sort of subconsciously or on purpose, you start to break the Premier League down into various different groups, don't you?
Yeah.
You say, right, you've got Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City, then you've got those competing for 4. And I think you'd be forgiven if you put Nottingham Forest, maybe not in the relegation category, but the one above it, with the likes of Brentford. And it won't be in a relegation battle, but they'll be in the bottom half. Have you now taken them out of there and put them in the one alongside West Ham, which is, maybe an outside chance of European football if they have a strong season?
I didn't even have them in the mix to be alongside Brentford. It has to be said. I thought they would be. I didn't find it. I didn't do my predicted 20 positions this season, so I can't say. But I suspect I would have put them very near the bottom. Just thinking back to then, easy to lie now, but I'm not going to. But particularly given that the players that you will ask me in a minute, which players I like and I'm impressed with, they're not really in the team. So Williams did really well against us last season. Morgan Gibbs-White is one of my favourite players in the Premier League. He's obviously injured, but Awoniyi's been really good for us. So none of these guys are in the team at the moment. I think maybe I probably had a little bit more confidence for him once they signed Ward-Prowse, because he's worth assists, Ward-Prowse, and and he will get you goals, and he will get you assists. But again, he's not in the team, so I don't know what the bloody hell's going on. Do I think they can qualify for Europe? No, because I don't think you'll be able to keep it up, because I don't think the squad is that good. But it's a testament to him, actually, that I think it must have been under Cooper when they got promoted. They bought 20 or 30 players. I can't even remember. It was ridiculous. Whatever they did, they bought a lot of bloody players. They were spending money like it was going out of fashion. People were even suggesting they could even get a massive points deduction, possibly even get relegated. They said, and I would always defend anybody's right to spend money. They should be allowed to spend their money, and they shouldn't have faced any bloody punishment. I defend their right to spend money now, but they haven't been able to. I feel they've had their wings clipped, yet still they thrive. So impressive. I don't think they'll finish top 6, though.
No, I don't think so either. But I don't think I think they've almost done enough so far, and they can build on this. Momentum's important in football, and I think when you have a really good start like Nottingham Forest have, I think it's quite easy to then keep on going.
Yeah.
And I think I feel quite confident that they're not going to be in a relegation battle. And almost a bad season from here on in is them slipping down to 14th to 15th or something like that. I think the big spend up though was necessary, because when they got promoted, they only had, like, I can't remember how much exactly, but it was single digits players registered
Yeah.
and contracted. They had like 7 first-team players, so they needed to bring in 17, 18 players in order to have a full squad. So the spend up was necessary, but I do think the success thus far this season is built off the back of that as well. Certain players have come in and settled down. They've got a lot wrong. When you bring in that many players, you're going to get a lot of those transfers wrong just through probability. Jesse Lingard, Ayew, Dennis, those types of players, big wages, big names for a newly promoted side, hasn't worked out. They've all gone, and I feel like they've cleared the decks of the players they brought in and didn't work out. I feel they've been quite ruthless and saying, like, let's just get them out, get them back out the door quick. And then they brought in other players to build on what they already had.
Yeah.
So they brought in all this, decided who was necessary for the foundation of Nottingham Forest, and got rid of the riffraff. And then they built, because, like you said, this summer they're only bringing a handful of players. It's easier to some extent because you can focus your attention, bring in specific profiles, specific players that you need, and it's worked. And I think there's a little bit of feeling about it to some extent for me with Moyes and West Ham. Now, I'm not saying Nottingham Forest are going to go on and finish 6th, 7th and win a European trophy, but it goes back to what you said at the start, which is the right manager at the right club at the right time with the right players. And that's a very hard thing to do. Sometimes you might get 2 or 3 of those components. But it does feel a little bit like Nottingham Forest has got all 4 currently, because I've watched quite a bit of them this season. I think it must have been on TV a lot or something. I feel like I've watched a lot of Nottingham Forest. They've been very impressive, very, very impressive. And as the season's gone on, and we are still in the early stages of the season, we're a quarter of the way through it, that win at Anfield has got more and more impressive after Nottingham Forest. So they went there and won quite early in the season, but since then Liverpool just kept winning and winning and winning. You thought, wow, that win by Nottingham Forest has got even better since they won against Liverpool. They're possibly the most impressive team for me thus far. They're not the best team, but a lot of teams are simply hitting expectations, whereas Nottingham Forest, I feel, are exceeding it for me. And I look at them and I look at the balance of their team and what Nuno wants them to do. It's very impressive, actually. It's hard not to be.
And he knows how to get the best out of a striker, Gio. He really does. He knows how to get a striker scoring, which is an impressive trait, really, for me.
Look, if you can turn Chris Wood into the best striker in the Premier League this season so far, you've done something right.
Yeah, but Jimenez was at his best under him as well. You know, this guy knows. You know, he is a bit of a defensive manager. He is, but he knows what he's doing. There's a real system. You look at West Ham and you say, what's our identity? You know what his identity is, and I think it's really effective.
What's your expectations for them for the remainder of the season now?
I think they might finish 9th or 10th, maybe. Yeah. I think that'd be and that'd be good. Because as I say, you know, maybe there'll be Nottingham Forest fans watching this. What's he talking about? We're up in the European places. But honestly, I can only say I really thought they'd struggle, because I just feel as a club they've had their wings clipped. Ambitious manager, you know, quite loud, isn't he, as well? Yeah, I think they're bum smacked, and I think it was harder for them this season. So I think for them not to be mixing it with those other clubs, and you know, a lot of people, mate. Do you know what? I should glance at the league table, but a lot of people are lauding Thomas Frank, who is a really good manager. Don't get me wrong, and they're saying, look at him and look at his tactics, and getting a lot of praise, Thomas Frank. And then you look at Nottingham Forest, and I'm sure Forest are getting talked about. It's not like they're being ignored, but they've got a good manager there. There's a lot going for him, and I think 9th, 10th is decent.
Would it be fair to say if West Ham finish above Nottingham Forest, we've gone on to have a good season? Is that fair?
If we any of them, Gio, if Forest or Fulham, anyone beginning with F, will do, mate.
Yeah, we're not too fussy. We'll take anyone at this rate. Players you admire, please.
Well, I mentioned them all earlier, but you know, I'll leave Murillo to you. But I did expect him to get a transfer in the summer. Maybe Hudson-Odoi is, you know, again, you know, against Leicester, he looked good, but obviously both their wingers caused us all manner of problems last season, and certainly he was one of them as well. So, yeah, and all the ones I've mentioned earlier, and I just love Gibbs White. I just always Always wanted to. From when he was at Wolves, as you know, always wanted to sign him. Always did, and he's just a wonderful player.
Yeah, Murillo, I think, is their best player, and I too expected him to go. And I was surprised nobody tried to go and pay big money for him. But Nottingham Forest have my favourite centre back partnership in the Premier League out of all 20 clubs. I'm not saying it's the best one. I'll leave that to you to debate at home. But in terms of just centre back partnerships, I think Milenković has been an incredible signing for it. He's already worth double, treble, quadruple what they paid for him. A player that we were strongly linked with for a couple of seasons at West Ham. Then obviously we beat him in the Conference League final and he went to Nottingham Forest, but he's gone in there. And this is where you have to remember something. What was this, the 10th Premier League game of the season? He's a summer signing from a foreign league. He's come in and he looks like he's been at Forest for a couple of years, and he looks like him and Murillo look like they've been playing together for a few seasons as well. To get that understanding so quickly, I think, is a huge achievement. They've had a few issues at centre back, Nottingham Forest. I think Murillo's obviously been really good, but in the early stages of the Premier League life, when they got promoted again, every time I tuned in, they had a different centre back partnership going on with Wardle and McKenna and not. Bolid, so they weren't all good centre backs either, but they never really had that partnership there. But now they've got, in my opinion, one of the most impressive centre back partnerships in the Premier League. They've got everything you want. Milenković is 6 foot, God knows what, fantastic defender. Murillo, fantastic defender, really good on the ball, quick. I think it's just, I wouldn't blame a club if they went to try and sign both of those players and just buy an established partnership. I don't think it would be the worst tactic. One's right-footed, one's left-footed. Everything you want in a centre-back partnership, Nottingham Forest have got it with these two. And then the third player I'm going to mention is Elliot Anderson. When he went to Nottingham Forest for 35 million, it looked like a rip-off. It looked like they were playing the game with PSR. That's what they were doing. Them in Newcastle were at it. And I think that can still be true. I think they possibly were inflating fees in order to help each other out with their accounts. But he looks bloody good. I've been keeping an eye on Elliot Anderson for a couple of 2-3 seasons now. When he was breaking to Newcastle, because when he was breaking into the Newcastle team, he was Scottish, and since then he's decided he's English again, and he just.
I didn't know that. Yeah, he was the next big thing, wasn't he? When he was breaking through, he was very.
Yeah, I was very excited to see him in the Scotland shirt, and he played for the youth teams and all that, and then he got called up to the first team, and he pulled out with injury, and then he got called up again, and he just said, "Nah, I'm not playing for Scotland's senior team. I'm waiting for England." So it's obviously a bit of a blow, but the benefit for doing Hammers Chat is I've been watching quite a bit because I thought he was going to play for Scotland. Fantastic player, and he's gone to Nottingham Forest. And Gibbs White, sometimes an injury can actually be a blessing in disguise. You just don't realise it. For West Ham, it could be a suspension to Mohamed Kudus that Somerville comes in and performs really well, and we don't look back. But with Gibbs White being injured, Anderson's been pushed forward into that sort of number 10 role. And he's really excelled. It looks a lot like Ross Barkley. It concerns me how much he looks like Ross Barkley. I think we need to look into his heritage here.
Oh, I see.
But Elliot Anderson for me, and he's someone we've got to keep an eye on Saturday. You let him dictate play, I think he will punish you. Fantastic dribbler, not the quickest player in the world, but you don't need to be. Some players are really good at dribbling without pace. It's just the way they keep the ball close to them and the way they can duck and weave out of players and tackles. And I think that's what Elliot Anderson can do. He's one of my most impressive players so far this season, Elliot Anderson. Right then, shall we talk about West Ham?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to start with the team news as always. We've got no Mohamed Kudus. We still don't know how long he's suspended for, but it's a minimum of 3 games. So they've got a little bit of time to get this sorted out. So he's definitely missing for this one. Niklas Füllkrug, don't know.
No, I think it's a no. It is a no.
Yeah, I think it's a no as well, but we're not. Don't know.
He's not trained, so yeah, he's not played since early September, so it has been impossible, I think.
Yeah, so for this preview, we will not be including the Class Foot Crew. Mavropanos and Todibo both had injury concerns at the weekend, but you can include them for this preview. Gonzo. So this is the team myself and Gonzo want to see, not what we think Lopetegui will do. Would you like to start with your goalkeeper and defence, please?
Yeah, I think the team picks itself, really, actually. I don't think there's an awful lot doing on this particular one. I think it's so goalkeeper, I'd keep Fabianski in there because of his super duper lovely save that he made. We will obviously have a Wan-Bissaka at right back. Todibo starts impressive when he was brought on at the weekend. Kilman there, want to see that, our own defensive partnership develop because, our two absolutely have the minerals to go on and create a very good defensive partnership themselves. And sort of, we've probably got all bases covered with those two as well. So that's going to be interesting, really interesting to see the two different centre-back pairings performing at the weekend. Emerson at left-back, who's been, has come well into form recently.
Yeah, I completely agree. You might have a match in 11. I have to agree when you say it picks itself. It was quite easy to whiz down the team I want to see for this one. I'm still unsure about the midfield, but we'll discuss it in a second. But I agree with your defence. I think Mavropanos did okay against Man United, but Todibo's shirt wasn't really up for grabs. He was only in because of an injury, and then Todibo come in and was almighty impressive. So I 100%. Moving into midfield then, what you got?
Alvarez, Rodriguez, and Souček in there. I can't. Paqueta just can't play anymore. It's going to get worse again. But he's been, as well, the time people watch this preview, he'll have had to testify on Wednesday in the Brazilian hearing via Zoom call. I mean, he had enough on his plate anyway. Another investigation, his legal team been trying to fight that. His head is not there, and neither is his gameplay, more importantly. So the assists, the magic. You have Paqueta in your team for man. You don't have him in there for any other, not for athleticism, not for headers, not for work rate. You have him in there for magic. The magic is gone. The magic is not there. Which, ironically enough, is a lot like Carlos Soler. He's not there at all. The old chameleon Soler. I cannot give you a reason to play him apart from something which somebody else might have seen at PSG or at Valencia. We're a quarter into the season, and I know he signed late. We probably played a couple of games, but I just have nothing. I have nothing. So if what you're asking me, which you're not, but I'm going to pretend that you've just asked me, about why would I pick a Souček over Soler? Well, Souček's got some goals. Souček's got some form. Souček might not be my choice and isn't my choice as a number 10, but you got to do something. And to be fair, when the three of them were on the pitch, when in the second half, there was a period when they were on the pitch. I think if I got that right, unless I got my substitutions wrong, I think we still create. There was enough there with certainly with the two wide men there and the fullbacks getting forward as much as they did. We're just creating all from wide anyway. We're not creating centrally. There's no. I can think of numerous crosses during that game, Gio. I can think of Wan-Bissaka trying to, unsuccessfully crossing it, of course. I can think of, Emerson trying to dribble into the box from wide. I can think of a couple of really good crosses from Somerville. Obviously, Jarrod Bowen. So there's a lot of stuff from wide. I'm really struggling to think of one defence splitting pass that worked, that came through the middle against Manchester United, against Tottenham. It's not happening anyway. So I think we haven't got a playmaker there anyway. So you might as well just have a big fella to make late runs into the box because we're not creating from central anyway. So that's what I justified my midfield.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's as much praise to those three players because they are playing well. All three of them are playing well at the minute, as it is criticism of Soler and Paqueta. I completely agree with your reasons. Paqueta should have been dropped a few weeks ago. Every week there's more evidence as to why not to play him. I mean, some of that is actual evidence in regard to his betting allegations, but there's more and more reasons to not play him. And with Soler, there's less and less reasons to play him. Because when you first want to see him, it's done on excitement and hope and discovery. I want to see solid play. I want to see what he's about. Get him in the team. But now it's like I've seen a little bit of what he's about, and I don't like it. So can we have him out of the team, please? But he's not had a huge opportunity, Solar. But prior to the Man U game, neither had Somerville, yet he had came on and done well. He had shown something in those 10, 15, 20-minute cameos he was getting. Solar hasn't done that. He's come on, got a yellow card, and went down the tunnel. It's not great. So I think we have to go with Souček, Alvarez, and Rodriguez. And this is arguably one of the better games to do it in as well, because Nottingham Forest are a very physical team in midfield. They're very aggressive. They make it very difficult to play. They don't mind a battle in there. And I think you either sort of need to play around them, or you almost need to match them a little bit. And I think you need to embrace the battle. And I think we need to go for the latter. I think if we try to do the first part, I think there's every chance we get bullied on Saturday. I think I can just see Ryan Yates pocketing Lucas Paqueta. I don't want to see it. Get Souček in there and give Yates a taste of his own medicine from Souček, and that will become a good battle. It's Alvarez, Rodriguez, Souček. It hardly gets the mouth watering, does it? But it doesn't though. But here we are. They are our three best midfielders.
Well, and they're tough. They are tough guys. Do you know what I mean? So let's try and win that battle, as you say.
And Boyne on the right.
Yeah, Somerville on the left, and Antonio up front. It's the only thing you can possibly do. I know, well, to be fair, some might make a case for Ings' inclusion, having had two goal involvements against Manchester United. But it's still Antonio's got to be there. Particularly, you mentioned you two fellas at the back there for Nottingham Forest, and I don't think they're going to be too concerned with Danny Ings, to be fair. So I'd almost rather, and actually perhaps some of what we saw Antonio doing against Manchester United, which popping up on the left quite a bit and stuff like that, and actually moving around, and almost I think sometimes you might be better off giving them nobody to mark. So I think it's a shoe-in team. I don't think there's too much more you can do.
I completely agree. I think the Ings thing, he benefited from the nature of the game, which is we were 1-0 down. If he'd come on, we were 1-0 up. He just isolated 30 yards away from the nearest West Ham player, and he doesn't get into that game at all. So I think, did he get the assist? Technically, and he won us a penalty, but I do feel like he that was as a result of us being 1-0 down when he took to the field. Yeah. So I think and Antonio wasn't bad against Man United, so I'd play him for this one as well. I think with Ings deserves more minutes though, but that can be just bringing him off the bench, because between the Fulham game and the Man United game, it felt like there was a lot of opportunities to bring Danny Ings on, and we didn't do it. We just didn't bring him on.
Yeah.
So if we need a goal against Nottingham Forest and it hits the hour mark and Antonio's tired, do the sub then. Just start bringing him on earlier. That still presents a greater opportunity than what he's had previously. And you might see something from Danny Ings there. But the good thing is, we are a goal down in the game. Forest will sit back. They will absorb it and they try and use counter-attacking. Understandably, with Hudson-Odoi and Alanga, and they've got Jota Silva on the bench.
Of course.
It will suit Danny Ings' game a little bit more. So I agree. We've got a match in 11. Gonzo, now I want to know if you're confident before you give me your answer. So I'm pointing in direction of Match Bingo. Get this app downloaded. The link is in the description below. The QR code is on your screen. Use either method to get it downloaded. Get signed up, because there's a couple of promotions for you, and you could win some money whilst watching Nottingham Forest West Ham on Saturday afternoon. Once you download it and you sign up and you deposit £10, they'll give you £10 credit for free. So you get a lot more bang for your buck. And then for the Nottingham Forest West Ham game, not just the Nottingham Forest West Ham game, all other games as well. Yeah. 5 for the price of 3. So you buy 3 cards, you get 2 freebies, gives you 5 cards in total ahead of the game. What is Match Bingo? It gives you 15 events you need to occur in the match, split across 5x3 formation on your card. It pays out first line, pays out second line, pays out full house, plus it pays out a bonus full house pot as well. So if you weren't the first person to get there and win the £100, you will get a share of the other pot as well. We've had loads and loads of winners here on Hammers Chat, and a lot of those have won multiple times. Bob won £50 a couple of weeks ago. Jay won £50 last weekend as well while watching a non-West Ham Premier League game. Can't recall which. It might have been the Nottingham Forest Leicester one, actually.
Palace, wasn't it?
Was it? I think that was the week before.
Oh no, yeah.
I think Jay won £50 on the Nottingham Forest Leicester game, actually. I could be mistaken. I think it was that one he won £50 on. So I've got a feeling Jay might be involved in the West Ham Nottingham Forest game this weekend. So anyway, match bingo, links in the description below. It's £2 per play as well, so it's an inexpensive game, but it is a gambling app, so please do gamble responsibly. It must be 18 plus and over to play. Gonzo, are you feeling confident?
I'm not, but I am feeling more confident than I was. Yeah, I am feeling more confident.
Can I ask why? Look, you gave me a little bit of optimism before the Man U game. I'll be honest with you. I need a little bit from you today as well.
Yeah, but the trouble is I really did believe that we could win that game, and I don't really believe that we can win this. I wasn't giving you false optimism. I genuinely did believe it. I don't genuinely believe that we will win this one, but I am so sorry. But I am more optimistic than I was. Team spirit. So the team spirit is far better than I thought. We don't give up. There's something about that. We keep fighting. And it's quite weird because I don't feel there's massively a team pattern of play, but I do think there's a team spirit, and I do think we've got some really good individual players. And I think we have a number of players who are on the cusp of a very impressive performance. So I think when everything's at its lowest ebb, it's hard to make a case who could be man of match. But quite frankly, Somerville could be man of match, Bowen could be man of match, Antonio could be man of match, Alvarez could be man of match, Wan-Bissaka could. We do have some really good players in there. We're nowhere near as well drilled as Nottingham Forest clearly are. And the reason that my confidence is not great to start with is I still haven't seen us dominate a game of football yet. And we're a quarter of the way into the season. I've seen us have, the best I've seen is us have good halves. And I'm not sure one good half is going to be enough to cut it against Nottingham Forest. It would have to be one good half plus a really lucky half. Now, we had that. And at the moment, that's what we need to win games. Well, without being able to dominate games. I don't think we'll be able to dominate games. And I think the one of the bigger problems that we've got against them is I think they'll be quite happy to surrender possession. Our possession stats are quite nicely up on what they were last season. But we do have a tendency to lose the ball. When we lose the ball, we get countered. And I think we got big gaps. Well, actually, not all over the pitch. We got big gaps in wide areas. And we're easy to cut through, and I think that's worrying me. But we can. We can win this. Make no mistake about it. We can win this. We can win this game. There's I do wonder. I don't know what the bookies are. I wonder if Nottingham Forest are favourites for this game. I'd imagine they are, and that in itself is going to at some point. I do think I was watching Talk Sport actually on YouTube the other day, and it was before Fulham, and somebody said no one's talking about Fulham. Fulham are unappreciated. Nobody rates Fulham. I thought that's absolute nonsense. Lots of people are talking about Fulham, and then I basically heard somebody say about Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest are not getting the respect they deserve. These are easy to throw away lines. I've heard loads of people talk about Nottingham Forest, and at some point, that then does become a pressure in itself. So. I think we can, but I'm not confident.
No one's given West Ham appreciation, so that's
true.
No,
we don't deserve it.
I know. Team spirit. That was your reason for why we might win. Team spirit. Honestly, it sounded like a crap Nirvana song coming out.
Yeah, no, team spirit and individual ability.
I know, but listen, the answer should be tactics. The answer should be... I know, but that should be the answer. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are we going to win? Well, the manager's really good. Why? Okay, if I said to you, why are Nottingham Forest going to win?
Because they're really, really well drilled, and he knows how to get the best out of his players. Round pegs in round holes.
Tactics. So the tactics of Forest, we'll see them beat West Ham United. Why could West Ham win? Team spirit and relying on individual brilliance. And you're not wrong, but it's not really the answer. It's not really the answer I was hoping to hear. I'll be honest.
It's the only one I got.
I'll be honest with you. I'm confident for this one. I'm confident we're getting beat. I am, because our weaknesses space out wide. Where do Forest like to play out wide? What do we struggle with? Pace on the counter attack. What have Nottingham Forest got? Pace on the counter attack. What are we struggling with? Chance creation. What Forest got? A bloody good defence. It's everything we struggle with. Forest excel in. Our weaknesses are matching Forest's strengths here. That spells bad for me. They needed to win last weekend to get their first win at home, because they've done well this season. There's a lot of draws in there, but they're not necessarily bad draws. And if you can go to Stamford Bridge and draw with 10 men, and you can go to Brighton and draw with 10 men, that's team spirit as well. Yeah. So they got their win at the City ground, and I think that will just give them a bit of breathing space. Not that I think they care too much. I think it's more of a Sky Sports thing. Oh, they haven't won at home. I don't think they're that harsh, to be honest with you. After 8 games when they're sitting in the top half of the Premier League, I'm sure they would have liked to have won at home, but the bigger picture is I think they're pretty all right, despite that lack of home victory. But they've got one now. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this game. I think, I wasn't looking forward to it this time last week. Watched Nottingham Forest win comfortably and deservedly against Leicester. Watched us get away with it against a team that had to sack the manager the following day. This sounds mental in my own head, but I feel less confident about Nottingham Forest after watching us win. But it's true. Before the Man U game, I thought, we're probably going to struggle against Nottingham Forest. I watched us beat Man U and thought we're definitely going to struggle against Nottingham Forest. We won the game, and my confidence has decreased. But that's my honest thoughts. I wish I was more positive. I hope we get a surprise. To be fair, a draw. If we can get a draw, would be a good result for us on Saturday. I'd be happy with a draw, and if we can beat Everton, that's 7 points from 4 games during the international breaks. That's a really good points return for this period. But I think I'd be lying if I pretended I thought we were going to get that. So can I get any final words, Gonzo? Plus your score prediction, please.
Yeah, look, the trouble is, I don't think he's going to play the team that I want him to play. So I think you are going to see Paqueta, or you are going to see Soler in there, and I just don't think it's good enough. I think one of the biggest problems that remain, and I just feel like I've been saying this for 5 or 6 years, and sometimes it looks like it's fixed and it doesn't, and it's our pace or lack thereof. And it's, I think it's further highlighted when you see someone like Somerville get substituted on. It was like, oh wow, look at him run. That's basically the reaction from West Ham fans. Well, yeah, most teams have that. In fact, they all have that. And I could make the case, and I have done. I did it after the Chelsea game, that I think the Premier League got quicker. I think there's been an import of even quicker players and more of them in the Premier League this season. It always was the most high energy and the fastest football in Europe, certainly. I think it's gone up a notch, and I don't think you're going to get away with the stuff that you used to get away with. I'm looking forward to seeing. By the way, I'm really looking forward to Wan-Bissaka's athleticism. By the way, let me just say that I'm so impressed with. I can watch that guy play football all day. I really, really like watching him play. I think I'm really pleased we signed him. Really pleased. He's borderline my favourite West Ham player at the moment. I know it's not the Hollywood choice, but it might not be enough. And and he's under instruction to bomb forward where possible, and it's leaving gaps all over. I think he's going to play the wrong team, and I think we're going to get caught out because of it. And but there's no pressure on him because he got that win against Manchester United, which will see him through, quite nicely into the new year. But I think we're going to concede early, and I think we're going to get a bit of a hiding. Actually, I think we're going to lose 3-0.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Crikey, that was a turn there when you were. Okay, made me feel a bit better in my prediction, actually.
Well, I said, and before anyone says you're overly negative, I said a week ago I think we'll beat Manchester United. I think we'll lose against Nottingham Forest.
You did.
I'm not being overly negative. That's just what I thought.
Yeah. Oh, patrons, make sure you log in and do your prediction competition for this game, please. We had winners last week, so people have won signed Paulo Di Canio armband/shirts. We don't know the overall winner yet, but somebody's picking up signed Paulo Di Canio items. So log in, get your prediction competition in, and if you wish to purchase signed items before Christmas, we've got signed Sir Trevor Brooking shirts, Jared Bowen shirts, Di Canio shirts, Di Canio armbands, Joey Dick's shirts, Joey Dick's captain's armbands. But also, we've got an exclusive offer on Hammers Chat Patreon at the minute where you can get a signed shirt from Thomas Souček or Vladimir Sufal, or both, and they will dedicate it to you. So if you're watching at home, your name's Jim, and you're a big fan of Souček, Thomas Souček will get your shirt right to Jim, Thomas Souček, and he won't send it. It will get sent to you. So go over to patreon.com/Hammers Chat for more details. No, I'm not looking forward to this one. I think it's funny, isn't it? Before the Tottenham game, Frankie said, wrong team, wrong time. Correct. You didn't say this, but you might as well have said Man United, right team, right time. Correct. Nottingham Forest, wrong team, right, wrong time again. I think we're back to that one, and I think Everton's the right one. By the way, I think I still think we could go and beat Everton. Watch them against Fulham, stinky.
Yeah.
But I watched us against Man United. Despite winning, stinky. I think it's going to finish Nottingham Forest 2, West Ham United 0. That's my prediction for this game. But you guys get involved. Hopefully you're feeling a bit more positive than myself and Gonzo are. Get involved in the comments if you've enjoyed this preview. You might have done. Please do drop a like, comment by clicking thumbs up, subscribe to Hammers Chat, download Match Bingo, link in the description below. Myself and Gonzo, we'll catch you in a bit.